Hi there, and welcome back to the Monsters Within series. Today we are talking Enneagram 7, those curious, energetic, adventure, fun, loving Enneagram types who are always going after that next exciting moment. But I got to tell you, even though they are having a great time, they can be tripped up by a little gremlin we want to call gluttony. We're going to explore how this playful monster shows up, why it can leave an Enneagram 7 feeling totally drained despite all the fun, and how to step into your power. Let's get ready to tackle the monster within the Enneagram 7. This is 9 in 9 Enneagram Wisdom for Life. Let's dive in. Enneagram 7s are vibrant, imaginative, they are full of energy, and they have such a gift for seeing possibilities around them all the time. They bring optimism and creativity to problem solving and honestly to life in general. They also have a natural resilience and resourcefulness that often inspires other people to take a bold step or try a new experience. Now, that same boundless curiosity, however, is where the monster for the Enneagram 7 sneaks in. And that monster is gluttony, or sometimes I just use the word more. You could sub out the word more for the word gluttony. This monster is constantly trying to convince the 7 that more experiences, more fun, more stimulation, more will finally make them feel internally satisfied. Gluttony. I know this is a word that we've, used with in the realm of overeating, and maybe it's kind of gotten that reputation, but gluttony at its heart simply means more. I mean, in our context for this monsters within, I'm seeing that little gremlin from Ghostbusters, the one that's really funny, that's like real charming and like hilarious. And so it's just sitting on your little shoulder, and it's always nudging you to just like chase more excitement, to have a taste of all the experiences, and to just get away from anything that is dull, boring, painful, and just kind of constantly trying to get the person into kind of some mischief and avoid the harder responsibilities. And even though this monster can feel playful and harmless, following it too closely can leave the Enneagram 7 feeling restless, scattered, and emotionally empty on the inside. At its definition, gluttony is craving pleasure and novelty, and it keeps 7s on the move. They're always chasing some kind of a stimulating experience, fun experience. But the irony is, the more that an Enneagram seeks, the more they feel unsatisfied and drained. It's like this monster is encouraging avoidance of discomfort and of the mundane things, but it's also robbing them of the joy of the present moment, of what's right in front of the Enneagram 7. So let's think about how this might play out. So you might imagine a 7 at work. They work in a really fun environment. Of course, it's pretty lively, and especially if they're around, it's going to be lively. I'm sure you've heard the saying that an Enneagram 7 never goes to a boring work meeting, because if the Enneagram 7 is there, it's not going to be boring. But basically, this can just kind of get the Enneagram 7 into some trouble at work, because that little gremlin's on their shoulder and it's saying like, "This is boring. Make it fun. We need novelty. We need new things." And what really maybe the moment calls for is just putting your head down and just getting the boring work done. Sometimes some Enneagram 7s even have a hard time like reading the room. They might be making jokes or trying to have fun when it's really not the environment for it. Not all 7s, but some really have trouble reading that room, where they think, "Oh, I just have to lighten the mood here," when it's actually not appropriate to do so. Or maybe a 7 at home faced with like the everyday chores, cleaning, managing kids, making food, then cleaning up the food that they just made. And, instead of like doing a boring chore, maybe they just go, let's build a blanket fort. Let's make sushi. Let's go do something fun. Let's don't clean this messy house. We hate routine. We hate boring stuff. So let's just have fun instead. And then, of course, things get piled up at the house and it leaves the 7 feeling really stressed out because that can be stressful. In relationship, the monster within the 7 would want to avoid maybe some emotional or deep, tough conversations. They might just say, well, I know we need to talk about that, but well, let's do it later. Let's just go do something fun right now instead. Because if we can just keep having more fun, maybe I will stop feeling this need to have this hard conversation because something's actually bothering me on the inside. The Enneagram 7's heart wants closeness, but that little monster just wants to distract them from the reality that sometimes takes tough conversations and some hard things. So if you're an Enneagram 7 and you're wondering how to handle this mischievous little gremlin of gluttony, of more, the first thing to do is to just notice avoidance. Notice when you are avoiding something boring or painful and you're kind of seeking pleasure instead. You notice when you're using fun or excitement or indulgences to just escape the mundane or the painful or the deeper emotional context of what's going on. Like, I mean, awareness, I teach this all the time in my classes. Awareness is a very, very powerful first step to reclaiming control and power over your life. Now, the second thing is to take purposeful solitude. This is allowing the Enneagram 7 to take a break from the fun. So solitude could look like time alone. Some 7s are really, really social, but that's not always what it means here. It's really about allowing the Enneagram 7 to borrow from their secure number, which is 5, to borrow the 5's ability to reflect, their ability to slow down and focus, the ability to just restore and reset the inner resources within yourself. Solitude would allow you to reconnect to who you really are and to your real emotion, to the depth of your emotion without being distracted by something that might appear to be more enjoyable. And then what that allows you to do, and this is the most important part for an Enneagram 7, is to just be anchored in the present. Resist that impulse to chase the next thrilling thing. Ask yourself, how can I stay grounded and fully present, even if this is routine or uncomfortable? That is the true practice for the Enneagram 7. And what we are wanting to move towards is the virtue of the 7. This is the antithesis to gluttony, and it is sobriety. Sobriety, typically we think of that in terms of alcohol or drug use, I've been sober for this many days, but that doesn't capture the full definition of sobriety. I mean, sobriety doesn't mean, just rejecting substances or fun. It's really the ability to experience the state of being grounded and within yourself without any external force taking you away from yourself. You can experience joy when you're fully present, even in the ordinary moments, in the challenging moments, in the painful moments. Sobriety allows you to stay content, engaged, without that chase of the highs, and allowing yourself to escape. Sobriety is not escaping life. And that will allow the 7 to feel truly fulfilled. If you need a handy little cheat sheet, I've got a free PDF in the show notes that is going to just help you identify the monster within, the passion of the number, and also the virtue of the number. Okay, 7s, remember that you are more than the chase of the next high. And your heart is safe and can thrive in the present moment where you are. Thank you for listening to The Monsters Within. Be sure to like, subscribe, and if you have someone on your heart or mind that might benefit from this episode, please share. We could all use a little guidance and encouragement to tame the monsters within.